Good evening, Instagram. My name is Bert Blaize. I am a sommelier slash front of house hospitality person. Me and Claire have written this book, Which Wine When.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire, I'm Bert's co-author. This is our book, Which Wine When, which is meant to be coming out at the end of the month, but it's not because we're having a global pandemic, but you can still get it online as of then. And the reason we wrote this book together is kind of the reason that we're doing this tonight. And that is that we were constantly getting texts and emails and calls from friends asking, I'm about to eat this thing, I'm cooking this thing to serve this person, I don't know what wine to drink with it. And so we decided to write a book about what to drink with the food you love. And that's what we're going to do tonight, right? Basically with suggestions that people have sent in about what they're eating in lockdown, and because frankly there's nothing else to do, what they should be drinking with it.
We have the list in front of us here that's been sent by Cote. So they put out a story on Monday asking for suggestions. So all we've done is split them into breakfasts.
That's the spirit we like to see.
Yeah. Lunch, dinner / tea, barbecue, because there are a lot of barbecue / steak beef questions, and then snacks, because they're obviously very important during lockdown. Everyone likes to be a little bit self-indulgent.
So yeah, thank you for sending in all your suggestions. I'm going to keep it really top line, because obviously where you can buy wine might be really limited. We want to keep it practical and accessible and fun and fast. So yeah, here's what to drink with your favourite lockdown food code. First
breakfast dish, we've got Croissants, which is from Octavia's Kitchen.
What would you drink with those things? I mean, second best way to start any day obviously is champagne, or any sort of bottle fermented sparkling wine, I guess. So like a really good carver, better value than champagne obviously, or French Cote. And the reason those things would be so great is that they have loads of like brioche, buttery, toasty notes in them already. So when you're eating your toasty, yeasty, buttery breakfast, you're going to get some of that in the wine as well.
Yeah, alternatives. You covered most of them there. My personal favourite's Carver, or you could get a pet nat.
Oh, this is a good breakfast. So Essor Mariam, I hope I pronounced that right, asked about marmalade on toast.
Well, I really wanted to include this wine because Italians call Moscato d'Asti breakfast wine, because it's one of the lowest ABV wines you can get, and it's very, very smashable. It's lightly sparkling, so it's perfect to drink casually, but you do get lots of orange blossom, some light fruit notes that come through, which will just be perfect with the marmalade for sure.
Because it's quite light in alcohol, it's got a bit more sugar in it, right, as well?
Exactly.
So if you drank champagne with your marmalade on toast, you'd probably end up with champagne tasting a bit bitter and watery, because, you know, marmalade, although it's bitter, it has a ton of sugar in it as well. So putting it with a sweeter sparkling wine is going to make sure the wine and the marmalade both taste absolutely fantastic.
Lunch. So this is a great one. This is sent in by somebody called Frankie Goes to Brunch, which is excellent. Sourdough with ferments, especially kimchi, and lots of soup. It's quite spicy. It can be a little bit funky because obviously you're fermenting it in a jar, so it can go a little bit wild. So it needs something to keep it in its place.
I mean, anything with spices, love a Riesling, like an off-dry Riesling, really aromatic. So it's going to work super well with sort of how aromatic and up in your nose everything fermented is going to get, and then the little bit of sugar in an off-dry Riesling is going to play off the spice in the kimchi really, really nicely.
Ravioli.
Ravioli Victor v. Boisen. Ravioli with filling of Cumberland sausage, lemongrass, thyme and garlic. I mean, if Victor is making this, I wish I was locked down with Victor.
So sausages, because you're not grilling them, you're not really caramelizing them a lot. I always think of the Alsace because the amount of sausage and offal and everything they eat.
Oh my god, yeah, they love their like charcuterie in Alsace, don't they?
So I think something to just pick you up and keep you going, keep things fresh and quite lively. So I would go for Alsace are famous for their field blends. So they grow a lot of the grapes together. They pick them at the same time, ferment them all at the same time. You've got like Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, Silvaner. There's loads of single varieties, or there's field blends out there. Some great producers out there that you can get your hands on that will do the job really nicely.
The next one, what to have with a spag bowl for someone who doesn't drink red wine? Firstly, what's wrong with red wine, Miriam? But, you know, fair enough.
I reckon you've got to keep it Italian. It's spag bowl. Look out for Pinot Grigio Ramato. So that's the original Pinot Grigio before they started making it a bit bland and boring, because a lot of people turn their noses up at Pinot Grigio, and it can be a great wine. So the Ramato refers to the skin colour of the Pinot Grigio grapes. They're not exactly green. They've got this little greyish, reddy blue tinge to them. And when you leave it in contact with the skins just for a little bit, it just gives it a nice little pink colour. It's got really lovely texture, nice richness to it.
Right, dinner time. What have we got lined up for dinner, and what are we going to drink with it? Ed, we'll eat it, is eating Parmigiana for dinner. So I'm assuming that's the aubergine version, not the sort of chicken parma version, although, kudos said if it is. So what would you have with your Parmigiana, another Italian dish?
So aubergine is obviously the main ingredient here. I would look around the Mediterranean. So look at some of the coastal wines of Italy from like Marche, Sardinia, Vermentinos work quite well. Or Certico, I reckon, would work really, really well with aubergine, because they're just paired.
So that's a white wine from Greece, from the Greek islands, right?
Yeah, Santorini normally, yeah.
Yeah, it's like got a lovely kind of slightly saline, like sea breeze kind of flavour to it, which is just, if you can't be in a Greek island right now, you might as well drink wine that comes from one. Shut your eyes.
Next, we're going for a lemon roasted chicken, which has come from Laure, who is the best maitre d' in Paris, I think. So,
well, let's go classic French then for a classic French one.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone goes for red wine with roast chicken. I think it's a shame. It's a real shame, unless you stand white wine, which is also a shame. White Burgundy and chicken is an amazing combination. Chardonnay in general and chicken is really, really good. If you're in the mood for something slightly different, you don't want to go to Burgundy, then go over to America. Look at like Anderson Valley, North California, Chardonnays near the coast that are a bit cooler. So they're more European in style, which are fantastic as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steaks. Okay, cool. So the first one has come from Chloe. She just put steak, and barbecue. I spent a bit of time in Tuscany last year, and those guys do steak really, really well, and they cook it over open fire, and Chianti and steak is just the way forward.
I don't think people always think of like Tuscany when they think of steak, because you think of it as being maybe kind of American food or something, but like they have the most beautiful steak in Tuscany, and it's one of those kind of bit goes together things. Like they really know what they're doing with their red wine, and they really know what they're doing with their cows. So like put them together. If you're someone who doesn't drink red and you want to drink white with something like steak, or what if you're eating fish and you want to drink a red, like if you are like a really steak person but you maybe don't want to drink red wine all the time.
I think with regards to fish, I think if you cook fish simply and it's supposed to go over white wine, obviously the sauce and what it comes with dictates it, but the main thing that stops it from pairing is normally the big profile of it, or the fruit, or the tannins. So chilling a red wine, it might knock the wine out of balance, but it might make it a bit more palatable and easy to go with the fish. Might be a good way, because at the end it is fruit juice. People drink red wine way too warm anyway, so we stick it in the fridge, chill it down, make it a bit more approachable. It works for some wines, it doesn't work for others. So that might be a good way to get around that. With fish especially. With steak, I would say the opposite. So white wine, and make sure it's a little bit warmer, so it's a bit more expressive. Make sure it's a full-bodied white wine, and make sure it's got a bit of power to it that can maybe pair up with a steak, but I really wouldn't normally go for it. But yeah, more power in white wine, the better for the steak, I'd say. This is a bit fancy. He's an exec chef, John. So Cote de boeuf, blue cheese, caramelized onions, horseradish, truffle sandwich.
There's a lot going on here. Gonna go red here for sure, I would say.
Yeah.
Something with a lot of acidity, because that's super rich, and that's going to keep your mouth really refreshed. But also something that kind of picks up on the truffles, because you spent all that money on truffles. So if you're buying Cote de boeuf, like you can probably afford to buy a Barolo. So like that would be a great shot. Or you could go for another sort of similar Italian red as well. So but like a Nebbiolo, something like that.
Yeah, a lot of Barolo and Barbaresco producers release their wines a bit younger, bottled, or not very good vintages, as what they don't think are very good vintages, as Langhe Nebbiolo as well. So look out for Langhe Nebbiolo. That'll work really well with the steak for sure, I reckon, and the truffles.
Roxy Ewan, Roxy is making homemade brisket and turning it into a Rueben sandwich. Yeah, pretty impressive.
Beaujolais, sommelier's favourite wine. And so,
Young, French red, drunk, really young, right?
yeah, crunchy red fruit, something simple. I mean, Ruben sandwich is not something fussy. It's fun. It's exciting. You're going to get grease everywhere. So yeah, just pop a bottle of Beaujolais in your fridge for half an hour and have a great time. And then
finally, sausages from Samfire and Salsify.
South African Shiraz or Syrah, especially from like Swartland, Stellenbosch, you can pick out really, really clearly. If you like, when people start tasting wines and you're like, I can't get any cranberries in this, I can't get any whatever, you pick up a South African Shiraz from Stellenbosch and you give it a little whiff and like fresh black peppercorns come straight at you. And that and the sausages, barbecued sausages in particular, so delicious. You don't need any tomato sauce, just loads of South African Shiraz. Really, really delicious pairing. I love that.
Brilliant, and that's super easy to get hold of as well. Like you'll find decent South African Shiraz like everywhere. So
I hope you enjoyed the pairings today, guys. Follow at Which Wine When on Instagram for loads of pairings and ideas and fun things to do with wine. And the ebook is available on the 30th of April, and the actual book will be with you in August.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you then to celebrate launching it when we get out of this. But in the meantime, keep drinking, keep eating. Thank you for sending everything in, and we'll see you soon.